What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here. In this video, we're going to break down a real life case study with one of our coaching students. This student actually got admitted to UCLA as a computer science engineering student. They worked with us through this program, and then kind of at the end of the day, they got accepted not only to UCLA. I think the final count was 39 colleges. They got to 39 colleges, all of them in some combination of computer science and engineering. And the student, to make it more interesting, is from the Bay Area. For those who are joining us for the very first time, my name is Coach Tony. I've been helping families with the college admissions process for over 16 years now. A quick little background. Actually was a former UC Berkeley admissions reader. And then I kind of turned that into being a director over at UCLA. I turned that into working. I opened my own high school. And then after that, became TikTok's first college admissions partner. Over the last 16 years, we've been helping families with the college admissions process, not only to get into the UCs, but again to all the top other out of states, other privates, even the Ivy League colleges as well. And today in this training, we're going to kind of break down our student. This individual, incredible to work with. Their family was amazing to work with as well too. And today they're just chilling, having the time of their life at UCLA as a computer science engineering student. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. If you're joining us, we're actually doing a little fun twist today. We are going live on a lot of different platforms. So if you guys are here, just say hi wherever you guys are from. If you guys are on Zoom, go ahead and say hi in the Zoom. If you guys are here on Facebook, say hi in the Facebook. If you're here joining us YouTube, say hi on YouTube as well. And everyone can help me real fast. Can we see the screen? That's the first real question. Can we see the screen? Trying a bunch of new buttons today. So if you guys can help me out and let me know in all the different cameras that I'm looking at right now, can we see the screen? Go ahead and drop a yes in the chat. Beautiful. All right. Yeses are flowing in. I have 4 monitors in front of me. So thank you. So again, today we're going to do a quick little case study. We're going to go ahead and kind of break down what the student has, right, on what they did, what we recommend the student do. And also I'm going to share some takeaways because again, you don't have to follow this exactly to the T, but understanding the frameworks of this is the most important piece of all. So if you can understand kind of why the student did what they did, that is going to be the most important. So let's go ahead and jump straight in and talk about it there, right? So at the end of the day, this student, I just kind of preview the future a little bit. This student applied to 39 colleges. Actually, I think a little more because they got into 39 colleges. Total, they applied to all 9 of the UC schools and various out-of-state schools. They got into a bunch of schools. It's actually like halfway through the process with them as well too. They got into a bunch of different schools, a bunch of like in-state, out-of-state, privates. And eventually, they was actually waitlisted at these schools, and they actually got off the wait list at UCLA, and that's where they're at currently right now. Again, the regardless was rejected by UT Austin here, and then we kind of asked the student, "Hey, why'd you apply to so many?" Because again, for the record, I don't recommend applying to over 4 unless you want to. Is the thing, unless you want to, but why did you apply to so many? Talking to her, she shared computer science is a very competitive major. So again, she aimed for a bunch of safeties, a bunch of fits, and several reach schools as well too. Again, some quick takeaways here. I do not recommend applying to over 40. You don't need to. I would say as a general rule of thumb, a lot of our coaching families, they're applying between 10, 15, maybe 20 schools. That's kind of the range that we're usually, I'll make some notes here as well too. Most students we work with apply to 10, 15, maybe 20 schools is pretty much like the range that we see there. This student, when they talked to us during this time, they aimed for UC San Diego for several reasons, right? Community college acceptance, lower cost, and campus preference. But after they got off the wait list, right, UCLA was their final choice here. And really quick, just touching on these things, because again, a lot of people a lot of people always talk about, oh man, when they first work with us, it's like always the name of the school. And if you notice, there's nothing name of the school per se here either, right, in terms of final decisions. Some things that you don't kind of anticipate will come up down the line. Again, one of the things you'll see the student did, that's one of the big core things that we teach is dual enrollment. This student utilized dual enrollment in her schedule. So again, a lot of her credits did transfer over, did count as well. So that's going to be a big component here. And then money, right? College is literally, let me write that down. College is the second biggest expense a family can have in their entire life. Throughout your entire life, there's only probably one thing that you probably spend more money on, which is your house, right? But besides your house, think about it. What other things are you going to spend more money on than a college education itself? So again, that's going to be the big one. So again, if we can save any money, if we can, let's go for that. So cost was a factor for the student, and preference, right? There's certain things that we tell students to kind of look into as here's things that you care about in this process. And for the student was like location, access to certain opportunities, certain resources. And for this student, UC San Diego originally hit all the buckets there until UCLA got off the waitlist. And for those who don't know, waitlist basically means you're in, but there's no room yet. there's no room yet is the key, right? So with waitlist acceptances, right? They say, hey, you're not a no, but you're also not, you're in the yes pile, but you're not in that initial batch of applications. So how you want to think about it, this is something called the melt, right? That's a lingo that the UCs use called the melt, which what means is that when you get accepted, there's only so many spots, right? There's so many spots. Let's say, example, right? The colleges will accept 10,000 students for 7,000 spots. That's kind of how realistic it works, right? Not every student will say yes, right? Again, if you think about it, students who got into a school like a UCLA or UC Berkeley, they probably also got into a lot of other schools as well too. So again, now it's like a pitting, that's called yield. Yield is the thing that helps students kind of compare to each other and what school are you going to end up going with, right? So from the 10,000, let's say, for example, the yield is 30%, or the melt is 30%. So you bring it down. Let's say at the end of it, after this, right, 6,000 students say yes, right? 6,000 students say yes to this school. That means there's 1,000 students that gets off the wait list. That's how this works, right? So again, so basically they over accept, then they hopefully go under, then they'll accept off the wait list. Again, so when you see schools that you're on the wait list and you didn't get off, that means it didn't go far enough down. Again, schools every single year are trying to get closer and closer and closer to do it. Bad things happen when they can't hit it. Like there's an example at UC Berkeley a few years ago where they guessed wrong. They guessed the number wrong, and more, like in this example, more than 7,000 said yes. In theory, they don't have enough seats. And the big thing a lot of families don't think about is housing. Sure, you want to go there, but where are you going to stay at? Where are you going to live at? All this stuff as well too. The biggest constraint for colleges is housing for them. So because they don't have enough room for them, so that was a crazy year. They actually converted all the study rooms into quads, like four people per room, which is one of the solutions that it was crazy. Again, every year after that, if you've noticed, a lot of schools since then have been a lot more conservative with this melt concept itself as well too, just to make sure it inches in so they can keep their yield rates high is the other thing there. So this student got in there, so super proud of her. Let's break it down kind of how she got there and how she went. Again, those who are joining us on all different platforms, again, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Zoom, feel free to start dropping questions. I'm going to go through this and just answer your questions as well too, okay? So first off, majors, right? So we asked her, what majors did you apply to all the schools? And this student applied to computer science for all the schools. Specifically at UCLA, this student applies a computer science engineering student as well too, right? So, and the reason why is they did prefer the hardware and software side integration of the two. So they applied as a CSE major at UCLA. But for most of her schools, she applied as a computer science. For those who know, computer science, very impacted major at literally every school you can think of. One of the more competitive majors to do out there. Big thing is to be prepared, right? So when it comes to the major, the biggest thing you'll see that she did also on her academics is that on her activities is that there's something called an overlay, right? So when it comes to your majors, there's something called an overlay. Overlay are classes and activities, right? And activities that readers are trained to look for in your application, right? So that's gonna be the big thing about the overlay. They try to look for certain things there. So when it comes to a computer science, for those of you who are computer science, right? For any computer science students, the overlay for you, math is strong math and strong sciences, right? And also when it comes to activities, experience in CS, right? That's it. People overcomplicate it too much. That's pretty much all they're looking for. So strong math, strong sciences, and experience in CS. This, again, is kind of broad. To be a little more specific, it kind of depends on kind of what region you're at, what opportunities that you have available to you. Just to put context for our own coaching families, when it comes to math, we like to have our students finish BC by 11th grade. So your goal is to finish calculus BC by 11th grade. As a result of that, you're able to go a little farther and take like multivariable calculus. Can't spell calculus. You take linear algebra and differential equations, right? Is the key here. I don't remember the student did or not, but again, that's like perfect plan, right? You follow that. And then experience in CS, right? So this is the math. Experience CS is anything CS related, right? Experience is anything CS related, right? Don't feel like you have to make it just related to like coding or this and that. It could be something related to that field too, just to show the colleges, here's what I've done. Here's what I hope to do once I get to your school. That's gonna be the big takeaways here, okay? So as that, let's talk about the student's academics, right? When it comes to their academics, this student predominantly was an A student. They giggled and said they had a few A minuses for the purposes of the UCs. A minus and A's are the same, so A's as well too. In terms of APs, the student took 12 AP classes, including AP CSP, AP Computer Science, AP English Lang, AP Gov, AP Econ. There, this student also took community college courses, right? So this is dual enrollment. For those who joined me yesterday, time of this recording, I did a live training on dual enrollment demystified. I broke down literally why you should be doing dual enrollment and exactly step by step how, what classes to pick, how to register for each one, and how to get started. By the way, if you're watching this in early November, do it ASAP. The deadlines are due. Don't complain to me in a month when all the classes are full, right? So that's the big thing. So this student took advantage of that and started sophomore year. Again, the sooner the better, right? You can actually start as young as 9th grade. Don't feel you have to wait till 11th grade or 12th grade to do this. You can start as young as 9th grade. So I would recommend that. This student started with sophomore year. This student also took, right, some CS related college courses and some advanced math as well too. So this student took classes like Intro to Programming, C++, data structures. They also took advanced math, linear algebra, discrete math. Again, classes that high schools don't offer, or most high schools. I know some schools do, but not most schools don't offer. This is actually a college level math that this student took. They also took some general education courses like psychology and music, classes that do transfer, classes that you have to do regardless once you get to the 4-year schools themselves, okay? So that is that. And in terms of trends, right, this student had a blend, right? The blend of AP level coursework and community college coursework as well too. And again, because this student started early in sophomore year, she may have enough for like a year worth of college credit, so she could graduate early if she wanted to as well. Okay, so that's the academics in a nutshell. So what are some key takeaways for us? Let's talk about some lessons, right? So what are some lessons that we have here from her profile that we can learn to kind of take advantage for you all to do it, right? So a few lessons here. First one is the balance, right? I think that's gonna be a big word for all of us, is like balancing the rigor, right? Plus classes, right? As well too. So you're balancing. So this student took, again, a mix of APs and dual enrollment classes there. That's gonna be a big thing to share on the student's profile itself. So the balance is number one here. Another thing is, again, taking advantage of the rigorous courses. So again, dual enrollments, right? This is basically taking classes at the local community college, right? That way, and if those who know, right? You're basically complete an AP level course in half a year, right? So you're squeezing in half. You're not needing to take the AP exam for it, and you can strategically pick your classes to ensure that you do very, very well in your classes there. Okay. Another big thing this student did is strong grade trends, right? You see her grades. She was a rock star, right? Rock star with her grades as well, too. She made consistent grades over the few years as well. Again, do you need straight A's? No, she's one example of us that did have straight A's. We have students with A's and B's, some a little lower as well, too. But the big trend here is the word strong. Strong means as many A's, right, as possible over anything else. So have more A's to demonstrate that you are doing well and capable of doing well as well too. The other thing is going to be demonstrating major related classes, right? So this student took AP computer science classes. They took college computer science classes as well too. By the way, we recommended her to do that because again, she's very advanced in stuff that she does. But if you're not as advanced, right, may not recommend the community college route itself, but more of just the high school classes or even outside. For example, computer science is one of those fields you actually don't need a computer science class. You can self-learn it. Everything that she took, in theory, you can take it online on online sites, on Coursera, on YouTube, right? Learning all these platforms, I think that's the big thing. When talking to her, I asked her, hey, what was the big takeaway of all this? I think the big thing for her was planning ahead, right? One of the beauties of working with our team is we kind of map out, hey, what's the future kind of look like so we can kind of strategically plan it along the way. It was no accident, right? It was no accident that we were like, oh, let's do this semester. No, everything was planned out ahead of time. So again, for families who are starting early, right? Our 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade families even, right? Even 11th grade right now. If you know these opportunities, go ahead and take advantage of them. The sooner it is, the easier it is going to be for you, right? So again, planning ahead and kind of mapping these things out will be a really awesome thing. And last one is study habits, right? Talking to her, study habits was huge because then she was doing a lot. It's not like she wasn't doing a lot of stuff. She was doing a lot. She kept her grades up and did a lot of APs and college courses, right? So one of the big things we asked was, like, how did you keep your grades super strong? How did you able to manage everything? For her, again, it's her style. Everyone's a little different. For her, you'll see that she mentions she created to-do lists, right? To-do lists to achieve every single thing that she needs to do each day. She created study guides for herself to kind of prepare for everything as well too. For me, I use a calendar to calendar everything out there. I also, for studying, I use study groups. When I was in college back there too, I learned a lot better with people than I did by myself. So everyone's a little different when it comes to study habits. For me, my big tip for everyone is learn what works best for you, right? What study habits work best for you? And that is going to be the big key here, okay? That is going to be the academics. Now, moving over to the activities, right? Moving over to the activities. What activities does this student had on their application itself? So first one, this student did stuff at her school, right? So number one, she was part of Girls Who Code, right? It's a club. Basically, you can kind of tell about it. It's a club empowerment and right about coding, about computer science related to the major there. She was present senior year. She was active all 4 years. She led some of their hackathons and created a imposter syndrome workshop. Again, think about the second thing that she did, right? The president is a formal title, right? One thing you hear about activities here, I'll make a note here as well too. Leadership, right, is a huge thing that gets thrown around a lot when it comes to the admissions game. But leadership doesn't mean just formal roles, right? This is like the president, founder, right? All these official titles that you get, right? That is formal roles. There's also informal roles that counts as well too. So maybe in her hackathon, she wasn't the one that had the fancy title, a little like name tag that says I am blank. But what if this student, right, was able to share, hey, I want to do this, I want to lead this, and she took the initiative to lead it, right? Same thing with her imposter. She didn't have to. There was nothing like the sort. For her, we were talking about it, and she was like, wow, this is something that I really care about. It's something really important to me. And she took the initiative to do that, right? When it comes to a reader's point of view, the thing is kind of irrelevant. The hackathon itself is kind of irrelevant. The workshop's irrelevant. For me, is understanding who the student is as a result of what they did. That is going to be the big key here. In addition, she also was a teacher, a TA, teaching assistant at the local CS class as well too. So same thing. She helped her senior year being a TA, right, and leading in the showcases, things that her school does as well. Same thing. More stuff that she enjoys, major related, and leadership as well too. Another one is dance team. She was a captain in her dance team. Quick pause. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Coach Tony, that's not related to computer science. Was she part of a computer science dance group? No, it was a dance group. She enjoyed to dance. This is one of the things about the student we're talking about. Like you can tell when she talks about dance, she lights up. That's one of her core loves in her life. And when it comes to activities, it doesn't all have to relate to your major itself. It can relate around a lot of different things as well. So yes, there are things, again, hopefully, if they do computer science, they like computer science. They're doing stuff in computer science that they like. At the same time, they're also doing other related activities, right? Such as dance that they enjoy as well, too. In fact, this student actually wrote about this in one of her essays about showcasing dance as her creative outlet and cultural expression as well too. So that's some of the stuff she did in school. And a lot of you guys are like, oh no, my school doesn't have a lot of things. It's fine. What about outside the school as well too? So this student, not only did she excel inside her school itself, she also did stuff outside of her school as well. For example, she was an intern. She did an internship at UC Berkeley's TDP program. Like I mentioned, she's located in the Bay Area. Thing about environment is there's tons and tons of resources around you. You just gotta look up and look around and see what is available for me. So this student actually was a TA for a Java programming class. She took it as a class. She did great. Then she went ahead and went back and returning the favor, helping others, right? And became a TA for the class as well. This student also did research, right? Really, really cool opportunities. Did VR research with SCU, Santa Clara University, and create like immersion environment for biofeedback, emotional regulation. Again, when you ask a student why, and the research is cool, but what's the reason why? When you ask the stuff and you go back to kind of what the student is kind of focused on, right, as well too, right, it all kind of ties in on who the student is, right? Why did you, it wasn't a random project that the student did. It tied back to her core interest, why she wanted to do what she did here, right? In addition to that, she also did volunteering. She volunteered. She did teaching computer hardware at a local library, also in India as well. Again, she didn't have to do this, right? She wanted to do this. And again, it's related to computers. She didn't force it that way. It just happened to be that way because she likes it. She geeks out about it, right? So that's the other thing here. Also in her church, she was also involved. She's a treasurer. Again, that's not related to computer science. That is fine, right? She is also involved in the treasurer role, leadership, right? And she helped do things in there, raise money, design the spaces here. Okay. So some takeaways. What are some lessons that the student here? I kind of mentioned it a few times already, right? One of the biggest takeaways from here is that your interest, right? Align activities with your interest, right? So again, the what's are irrelevant. People always ask Coach Tony, should I do research or internships or this program or that program and all these random things? The answer doesn't really matter. You focus too much on that. It's not the biggest important thing. For me is what do you enjoy? I always throw it back to the student and say, hey, what do you enjoy? This student, for example, she loved computer science. She loved dance. She loved being involved in her community. I'm like, cool. What stuff we can do with these three things? And that's kind of how we expanded her activities to figure that out is the big one. The next one, leadership and initiative, right? A lot of us, right, speaking very broadly, a lot of us are going to just wait for things to happen, right? We're like, oh, I can't get that. Oh, it'll come to me one day. No, she went in charge of her own journey. She's like, hey, what can I do? Hey, this opportunity doesn't exist yet. What's something I can do to do that, right? Again, showing initiative, right? She didn't say, oh, my school doesn't have it. Oh, this club doesn't do this. I can't do that. No, initiative is a key thing. Leadership sometimes, right? When you get roles, you have to be voted in. It's hard to be voted in. It's usually a popularity contest, right? So it's really hard to be popular sometimes, but no one can stop you. It's like, hey, I want to do this idea. How can I get this done? Showing initiative is the big thing here. The next big thing here was balance between academics and activities, right? You're seeing that she does a lot, right? She does a lot of activities, but she maintained really strong grades as well, right? The big thing here, she had to learn how to balance both of this stuff. Not only was she great in the classroom, she was also really phenomenal in her activities. In fact, I would say that she spent more time in her activities than her academics, right? So that's one of the big strategic kind of thing notes you want to put that right down, right? You want to be spending more time on your activities than your academics, but her academics was still very solid. So again, it's a mixture of minimizing and maximizing thing. You want to maximize activities, right? At the same time, you want to maximize the rigor, maximize the grades, minimize time on the academics itself too. I think there's a lot of these things in combination. Other things as well is uniqueness, right? Uniqueness as well too. She wasn't like every other computer science student, right? When computer science, like Coach Tony, I got to do hackathons. Well, she did, right? I got to code this, I got to code that, and I got to do a USACO and all these other computer stuff. I'm like, cool, that's fine, that's good. Is that all you got to do? That because in theory, now you look like every other computer science student, right? So for me, what I recommend is showing who you are. Again, go back to yourself, right? We're unique of who we are. For those who know, right? I have a cool little mohawk. It's getting kind of big now with my hair. I gotta get a haircut soon, right? There's not a lot of college admissions people with mohawks, I have learned. Right. So again, I'm a little different that way. If you guys look up here, there's like a pro championship wrestling belt as well, too. I love pro wrestling. Huge pro wrestling fan, WWE, all the other companies as well, too, right? Again, same thing. If you look at college admissions, folks, people with mohawks, people with pro wrestling this, not a lot of them either, right? Those you see here, that's Marvel. Marvel as well too, right behind me. There's a red bucket right here. That's Pokemon cards, right? So all these mixtures of things is what makes me unique. Not only do I do a lot of college missions, coaching calls, talking to families, speaking at schools, speaking at events, I also do all these other fun things that gets me excited. I'm not doing the Pokemon cards for Johnny over here, right? I gotta do it for me because I enjoy it is the biggest thing. And that's the big thing. When it comes to this, be unique. So how you be unique is be you. Try not to be someone else in this journey. Another big thing that she had was growth and passion, right? Growth and passion, right? A lot of her stuff she did multiple years, right? It wasn't just like, let me start this 1 year and be done, right? It was, hey, let me start something I think I like in ninth grade. Let me continue that over the years, showing the growth. You saw that her evolution in the activities that she's done has grown as well, too. And the stuff you can tell she enjoys it. She's not doing it because she feels like she has to do it. The big thing she's doing because she enjoys it. She wants to do that. Is the big key itself. Okay. So last thing, just to wrap up real fast, and I want to do a little bit of Q&A. I see a few questions pop in the chat. On this call, I also asked the student, how do we help her, right? How did we help her with this journey? And she kind of pinpointed a few things with us, right? The first thing she mentioned that she enjoyed our weekly calls, right? So every single week we did weekly calls with our families, the different calls. Right now we even expanded that to office hours pretty much on a daily basis now. So she was able to jump on, ask for help, and get feedback right over here. They actually said that was really useful, especially when it came to like quick questions that you jump on as well too. She really enjoyed our application intensive events, right? She mentioned that was a big key of getting her apps done, right? We helped her basically crank out all of her college apps, her UC PIQs, her personal statements. We gave her feedback during the event as well too, right? To help her get her to done. She also mentioned the mentoring aspect, right? Not only did our team help her with the college admission stuff, right? A lot of it was just giving her feedback from a mentor program, not mom or dad giving her feedback, right? But someone else, a third party person to give her feedback and getting her essays read by us, giving her feedback, telling her how to do it, asking her, like we call it the dig deep, Coach Art, or dig deep, help her dig deep and figure out what her motivations are. And one of the big things she expressed was also our accessibility and availability as well too. She mentioned also that at any time she had questions, she was able to ask us and get quick feedback on everything here. And if you didn't believe me, you guys can actually watch the whole training itself as well too. So it's actually on our YouTube channel. So I just gave you guys a quick summary recap of everything. But if you don't trust me and you want to actually watch the actual call itself, is currently on our YouTube account. If you guys want to check it out, College Admission Secrets. The title is called How Leanne Gone to Over 35 Colleges as a Computer Science Major. Again, definitely check it out. If you are there, go ahead and drop a like. That number is kind of lonely. There's bump it up to double digits. Feel free to leave a comment as well. And if you haven't subscribed yet, tap the subscribe button, everyone, as well too. Okay. Before we dive into, I see a few questions start to pump in the chat right now. So before we do questions, a little subtle pitch, a little plug right now. So if you guys are interested, again, Leanne was able to work with us through our programs to help her get into her top school. She was a Bay Area computer science engineer, got to 39 colleges as well too. And then if you watch the video, I think she lists all the schools out in there, so you can see that as well too. But if anyone is interested, I'm gonna go ahead and drop a link in the chat on all the chat platforms that we have currently right now. Open invitation for any new families that haven't tasted our coaching programs yet. We offer a free 15-minute coaching call. It's not a consultation. A consultation, like we're gonna bait you with a sales pitch. No. It's a coaching call. We're going to help you guys out on this call. You can't buy anything on this call as well too. You meet with our advisors. They're going to ask you a few questions, give you a few bit of feedback, and that's it on that call here. There's no sales involved in that session. If you are interested in working together, you can let them know. They'll schedule a second call. That's when they'll try to sell you. But on the first call, we just want to help you guys out first, kind of make sure all the families are on the right track. And the big thing, again, the big takeaway here is Leanne started early with us, right? Because she started early, we were able to set her on the right track throughout the whole journey itself there. Okay. That being said, let's go ahead and answer some questions right now. So if you guys have questions, pop them in the chat, and then we can go ahead and answer them as well too. All right. We have a question here about what dual enrollment classes you took. I think you missed the first part of the call. Dual Q&A, right? Which dual enrollment classes? So I think I mentioned earlier she took a combination of computer science ones and computer science, math, right? And GEs, right? I don't recommend for most students take the computer science one, actually, especially if you're a computer science major also. I recommend for you guys focus on your math and GEs is kind of what I do. Computer science, you can actually learn through other ways and just applying it through your activities itself there. I'd focus more on GEs and math is the focus if I were you. When it comes to math, again, you want to go as far as you can, right? This is the big differentiating factor for you. So again, if you can finish calculus BC by junior year, that's kind of what I would like computer science, even engineering students to we're on that track. Let's try to get that done. If you don't, it's fine. Don't stress out. Don't worry as well too. But if you have the opportunity to, I would highly recommend if you can do that. That way you can hit Calc 3 versus linear algebra plus differential equations in 12th grade. You can do that in summer, fall, and spring, and you are good to go there. Okay. Someone asked how we helped her with activities, right? Helped with activities. So for anyone, not just the student, but that in terms of activities, the biggest thing is going to be start with your interest, right? Start with your interest as well too. There's only two things you should have on your activities. One, things that the student loves to do. And number two, things that the student thinks they like to do, right? Which again, hopefully number two will become number one is the big takeaway as well too, okay? So again, biggest thing, if you notice all of her activities, you can watch the interview and see kind of her say it for herself, but all of her activities were all about doing things that she enjoyed, doing things that she's interested in doing and learning and wanting to do. Of course, she did stuff that related to her major, but again, number two, she thought she liked it and she did. She did enjoy the computer science. So again, it falls again with these two categories. So when it comes to this, doing things that you love to do and doing things you think you like to do. Then something I would add to this as well is you want to also focus on maximizing hours per week, right? So depending on the schools that you're aiming for, if you're aiming for like a UC based school, like a LA, Berkeley, 20, 25-ish hours or more of activities is kind of the benchmark that we like to see our students at. If you're aiming for an Ivy school or above, go aim for like 30 plus as well too. It just shows that, hey, I'm doing a lot of things with my schedule in addition to the academics itself. Okay, cool. Looks like that's all the questions we have here. So again, if you guys are interested, go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel itself. Our team is a rock star. They actually upload there quite frequently. So you guys can definitely click the subscribe, follow, so you get to get our notifications. As go ahead and drop a like, leave a comment, makes me feel good as well too there. Right. So that's pretty much it for me today. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.